Hopefully that does it. Let's see. So welcome to live session. XV is not here, so we'll move on. I'm just kind of going through the list. I mean, I've already spoken to a lot of you, so just I'm going to go through, what's on the chat kind of in order as best I can. So, Alex, you were up first with your additions to this image. You want to talk about it a little bit?
Not off of the top of my head. I also added the car animation that I updated because I added some crypto mats that you had mentioned.
Yeah, I saw that.
Cool. But yeah, basically I had, from what the feedback that you had given me, I had added some more fog to that back building so it's not as in focus.
Mhm.
Added a bit more contrast to Sir Desmond, and then defocused the back thing a little bit more and added a more solid red on the hat and faded the top of the hat, as you had mentioned in our call.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Let's see. All right, so personally, I think that like this area could still get a little darker.
Okay.
And even down here in the sky.
All right.
And the reason for that is, I think we really want to. The moon is kind of dead center, right, in the image, and your character is actually leaning to the right, which is a little off, because I think we kind of tend to want to read because his face is on this side. We want to feel a little bit more clear area on this side, and more congestion here.
Okay.
So I mean, even this I think is getting in the way. Like I would lose this.
Okay.
Altogether. But darkening this would help a lot. Refocus you here, or frankly, you could nudge the camera over a little bit so that the moon is slightly off center and Sir Desmond is a little bit more on center, or even slightly to the left.
Okay.
And I personally, you're starting to get some decent separation between, this platform and your main character, and I guess that's Big Ben. Big Ben back there, right? So that's good. I think you could go a little bit more, just a little bit more atmo, and also more atmo on this guy and this guy, because at least try going more and see if you can get this whole figure to pop a little bit cleaner. And I think it really will help if you groups.
Okay, so just reading my notes. So move Sir Desmond over. I'm gonna say so that he's closer to a third.
Well, move the camera over.
Oh, move the camera over.
Move the camera. The composition's probably fine.
Okay.
But if it ended up feeling, oops. More like put your hand there, or like that, so that he's leaning into the area in front of him. It just gives the composition more air, and you're unfortunately you're fighting the composition a little bit.
Okay.
Because he's kind of leaning out of the center of the frame, and you have a big clock right behind it, which used to be almost at the same value. At least it's further back now, but I think you can go a little bit more foggy. And I did look up some references of Big Ben, and there's really no reason for it to be red. Are you fixed on this?
Yeah, because I was trying to make it like more of a dark-ish Big Ben. I sent you some reference, and it's like Peter Pan, and it had that bright glow on the clock. So I just wanted to have, like, instead of the bright yellow glow, the bright red glow, or this kind of red glow. For some reason, it's more appealing to me. But I mean, if you're saying it's wrong, maybe I can adjust it to like a yellow.
Yeah, I think personally, I mean, I think you want to sort of save the red, you know,
Okay.
it's popping your eye to the other side. And if it were more like the moon, like even the moon could get a little yellower maybe, and
Hmm.
the clock faces and lose all the red stuff that's in here. I mean,
Okay.
we're trying to get rid of that anyway, right?
Yeah.
Um, and then I think it'll make the composition more straightforward, which
Okay.
will. Like that's been what I think you've been fighting since the beginning. It's like there's a lot of competing stuff, um, and I think you need a more straightforward read. Um,
Okay.
so I like the additional contrast on him, but I think you can go more like this area here is still popping out to me because
Okay.
it's the same value as his face
Hmm.
and still relatively close to the sky. Like this can go darker.
Okay. So darken body.
Yeah, darken the body. And conversely, I would go ahead and brighten his face up a little bit.
Okay.
Just cheat it up because that's really what we want to see. You know?
Okay.
And even when you darken his body here, like you can leave some things like these little, bat wing fingers.
Hmm.
Put a little bit of highlight on them or something, just so there's a little bit of detail, but not like the whole surface isn't
Yeah.
gray and bright like it is right now. Because that is confusing it with the other values around.
Okay.
Um, well, I mean, for instance, actually, okay, this is another thing, but when you get rid of this, you could, instead of moving the camera, find something similar on this side, that would kind of do a similar thing.
Okay. That's
But
actually, I like that. I like that a lot, actually.
you're still going to be fighting. This is center of frame is here.
Yeah. I'll be sure to move that over.
And I think you can make the moon a little glowier. Get a bit of a corona around it and let that kind of spill over. Bloom over him a little.
Yeah.
That always looks nice. And that would sort of fuzz out here as well.
Hmm.
Just feel a little spookier. So like once the value structure gets settled, where these things are setting back a little further, then I
Hmm.
think you can go back in and start picking out picking out details, here a little bit. Either cheating some red light coming on the sides a little bit more, or even getting a little bit of speck on there, something, so that
Hmm.
you feel, a little bit of detail. Like once that goes back, you can get a little bit on the foreground, so that it's not just black foreground. But it's coming along. I mean, it's reading a lot better, I think, already than it did initially. So.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is where you started.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's see. I heard from XVArts, XV, and she can't make it, but she's asking if it could be recorded. So let me see if we can just talk about her thing since it was up. Yeah, okay. Well, 5 or 6. Yeah, no, she's not gonna make it. All right. So XV, this is for you. So I mean, I was hoping you could talk about this a little bit because I don't know what you're doing, what the parameters are, but if you're trying to match the plate, right, I think there's a couple things. It does feel like maybe the angle of your guy is a little different than what's in the plate. It feels like the camera's a little higher to me because I'm assuming these are all the same length, the little feet, and they're not really grounding. I mean, aside from the shadow, that's a whole other deal. But it feels like the camera's kind of tipped up. So I would look into that. Like it might be worth it to model really simple cylinders into your scene and just get them to match up with the ground plane and try that. As far as the lighting goes, it feels like your sun angle's a little off. Like I don't this really bright highlight there. I don't know if that's a rim light you're introducing or if that's actually from the key. It feels like it's from the key, and it's pretty hot, and I think it's not quite in the right place. Like if I look at this highlight on this cylinder here, it's not wrapping all the way around the side like this is. So I would expect the same kind of highlight here. So it feels like the key needs to rotate around more this way. Let's see. Okay, well, I tried some stuff while I was waiting. It also feels like you're a little saturated overall. So I would try sort of these. It's probably your light is probably too warm, or maybe you need a little more coolness in your sort of sky. And the sky thing is big actually here. No, let me take that back. It feels like you're a little too filled here compared to like these areas. So yeah, go a little bit darker on your fill. Maybe it should be cooler overall. And then when you bring the key around like this, it's going to tend to give you highlights on the insides of the button, which I think will help. Because I'm guessing that you wanted to fill him a little bit extra so you could see his face. But I don't think you really need to if you either if you pull the key around and that gives you some nice highlight hits on the eyes, on the buttons, or if you just stick them in there. Yeah, so it should work either way. And like down here, something doesn't feel right, like something's leaking. I don't know why there would be light inside of this mouth on his teeth, given that this is completely practically in shadow. So that feels a little odd. Again, it's nice that you can see them, but there's too much shape on them. It kind of feels like there's linked lights or something. I'm not sure. So, okay, that's about what I have for you for this for now. So, let's see, Erin, you there?
I'm here. Yep.
A lot of progress. You want to talk about it?
Yeah. So I really took everything you said to heart. I created a story in my mind for the angles, and I haven't animated it yet. But that's kind of gonna be some of my next steps. I really wanted to add, like you said, I wanted to bring some more life to the character, so I tried to warm that out a little bit more, get some more glow. I put a little bit more glow on the stairs. You can't really see it behind the shadows, but I tried to add like a spooky shadow of the hair kind of on the ground in front of there.
You do see it. It's not.
Yeah, a little bit. It's like it's a little bit there. But yeah, I just wanted to add some more brightness and spookiness to the character. So that's what this third version was.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I like everything you've done. This shadow feels kind of sharp, and the big problem is I just don't see it, and it's
Yeah.
a little small. Okay, so bottom line, I think that because this character is so large,
Hmm.
that its head is already above the door frame and the hair is even higher, so it's a
Yeah.
little hard to check. I mean, we want the light in the hair because it's going to look cool, and the
Right.
proof is putting here in this shot. It's like that looks awesome, right? That's what we want.
Hmm.
This angle, you don't really understand the relationship to the door quite so clearly, so you can get
Yeah.
a. But over here, it's like, that looks like the light that's been faked
It's
out.
above the door. Yeah. Okay.
So, I mean, there's a couple things. You could shrink the character, you could move the character forward a little bit, both.
Hmm.
I was thinking you've kind of done it already, but I was kind of thinking like it would be really spooky if this character were just floating over the.
Oh yeah, I lifted it a little bit because I was like, ooh, that there's a little spill under it, so that's like
Yeah, that's cool. So I think there's some things that you need to do to make it physically plausible enough to be able to
Yeah.
get the kind of thing that you really want, which is to
Okay.
highlight the hair. It's a little strong there too. I mean, it's like,
Okay.
it definitely works better, here. So, yeah, I do it. I just dab some paint on there, and yeah, you definitely want the shadow of the character, going down the steps. But then
Hmm.
to support that, you really need some heat somewhere.
Okay. Even
Yes.
more. Okay.
And then this just it's hell. Just let it glow,
Yeah.
and those glows would kind of bloom into the character a little bit, so erode the edges. That always helps and makes it look nice.
How would you recommend getting that? Is that a compositing thing or is that in Maya, like a lighting thing?
Yeah. So
Okay.
you need the character separate so you can get an alpha.
Yeah.
Probably in the case, I mean, it sounds like you're already doing it. You're rendering the characters totally separately
Yes.
and over the house without the character cut out of the house.
The
Which-
first one I had the character in the house just because it was already there, but I can render it. I can take the character out of the
Yeah,
house.
take the character out. Have it. You still want to cast in shadows. So
Right.
you get the secondary ray stuff. However it works in whatever renderer you're using. But then there's no like cutout keyhole for where the character was in your house. Like,
Okay.
then you can play with it. And you
Okay.
stamp the character back over, and then I think there's just an edge bloom thing in Nuke. If not, it's pretty easy to do. You use an
Okay.
erode and some blurs and stuff, and just let the color that you're introducing wrap around into the character. But also like around the door frame and stuff, it just kind of glows around. And even cooler if there were some volumetrics from it, as long as we're doing it. But I mean, I think you can go further with like striking this other surfaces that are nearby with red light.
Okay. Okay.
Just
Yeah, I think the problem I'm having with that is since I have the blue glow, it's kind of turning more purple than red than I kind of want it to be. So that was what I was kind of struggling with also.
yeah, yeah, it's kind of big.
Yeah.
I mean, a red like this is it's barely even possible, probably.
Yeah.
So it is more of a compositing thing anyway.
Right.
Only in hell can you get red like this.
Exactly.
So I mean, also, you've got fog, so in a dark situation with light this strong and that saturated, you can't expect to see it
Okay.
on the fog somehow to whatever degree you can manage. Okay, cool. And did you understand what I was talking about with the lightning?
Yes, I don't know how to do that, but I can learn how to do that and I will do that.
Okay, yeah, it'll be really cool. And then
Yeah.
Once you're flashing that, and it should be different, right? At different times. Like this one flashes at one time, that one flashes at different times.
Right.
And when that happens, you get strong, white lines around the house. And maybe there's one off screen that's from the front that flashes the whole house. That'll be fun.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
Okay, let's see. So this one. So, this is really dramatic, but maybe we're a little too far in the ground.
Okay.
What are these guys exactly?
That is grass, I think. Or they're tombstones. I think they might be
The
tombstones.
scale's kind of weird. Tombstones would be cool if they were bigger and like it was sort of clear that they were tombstones.
Yeah.
But they're very small. They're like the size of the pickets of the fence. So, maybe mess around with that a little bit. I think, you got to get rid of this one because it's just, it's getting in the way of the read of what you want here. And, this will also have all the glow and stuff that you're doing in the other shot. So you want to see that projecting out kind of this way. So that, not too far. Definitely kill this guy or move him over. Some of this red, I mean, I assume these are blades of grass.
Yeah.
That again, you might want to kill these because of the scale thing. But that red feels too strong. It's just like it's distracting. Is all it is. And maybe even whatever's on the railing there, like it's coming out pretty far, a little too far, I think. Yeah, but I mean, it like I was saying, it's pretty powerful, right? What a camera change and can do for you. Camera and lighting together. That's how we get there.
Exactly.
Are you got any questions or anything for me? Or?
I probably will once I start working on it, but for now I think I just need to like get back into it and kind of just implement what you said. So yeah, I'm excited. Thank you.
All right, cool. Let's see then. Alex, go back to your car.
Cool.
Okay. So tell me, what's going on?
Am I unmuted? Just trying to make sure.
I can hear you.
Okay, cool. So I had added some crypto mats and kind of like bumped the saturation a little bit on the object and like desaturated everything else while also trying to remain like keep some of the like continuity of the image. I also like you said, added a tiny bit of gamma to the car and decreased a tiny bit to the environment.
Okay. I mean, overall, it's got more body to it for sure because everything was kind of washed out last time. But I gotta tell you, I'm a little worried that this thing is starting to feel really processed.
Okay.
Like the colors up here, just it's confusing. I don't know if you're going for something that's naturalistic or like psychedelic. It's kind of in between.
Okay.
And yeah.
A lot of the struggles that I've been having also, I was talking to a friend about this the other day, is the color palette on this piece. It's fighting me a bit because like you said, it feels naturalistic, but then it also feels like psychedelic. So it's like trying to get that to work has been very interesting for sure.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, I have seen this piece on student reels before that have come through the office, and I don't like this
Yeah.
for a lot of reasons. Like one, the car the bug and the camper feel like they're modeled at a totally different level than the environment. Like
I agree.
there's a lot of detail, and the shaders are very shiny, but they're also very unrealistic. Like you've never seen a beetle that color.
Yeah.
And the camper feels weird, and the camper is, you know, extremely dirty, and you know, it's kind of a weird hodgepodge. And then the buildings are very, very basic.
Yeah. I think they
use
use different shader setups. Like the car is PBR and the environment is not.
But even the modeling is just, you know, it's much more primitive than what's on the cars, and the animation's weird. It's
Yeah.
like I don't like what is happening exactly here, and there's no driver. So I think you should leave this one alone.
Yeah.
I know,
I
you
agree.
put some effort into rendering it, but I'm not a fan of this particular scene. I've seen it
Yeah.
a few times, and I've never seen it work.
Yeah. I'm not liking the feel of it. I mean, I've done just literally everything under the sun to try to make this image work. And so far it's just I can't seem to get it to work. Maybe other people can. But for me, I think it's time to lay the hat down and move on to another piece at this point.
Good. I'm glad you feel that way. And for what it's worth, I've never seen anybody pull it off. So
Okay. Thank you.
don't worry about it. It's not you. It's the scene. All right. So moving on. All right. Christina is not here, right? Ruby, you're here, but you don't have any new stuff, right? Or that we can look at. So Justin, I can tell you I didn't have a lot of time to look at your reel. So whatever I'm gonna throw out there is gonna be just like off the cuff.
That's fine. First impression is great. So
Okay.
What is your favorite song?
Favorite song is.
Okay, so in this shot, now, mind you, you've got 5 shots on yours. It's like, it took me it's gonna take me 5 times as long to come up with another stuff. I kind of feel like the key feels kind of harsh to me on the character, and also at the same time, like I feel like in this back corner, things are getting pretty dark, like a little too dark in this house. And what it feels like to me is there isn't enough of the presence of the sky. Like, you know, it sounds like, why would there be sky inside the house? And it's actually shocking how much blue light comes in when there isn't direct sunlight. And when there is direct sunlight, it's still there, but you see it and feel it in the shadows. So like this is getting really dark back here. And I think, you know, getting more of an ambient level of cool light that feels like it's coming from the window still, but bouncing around would help lift these darks. And also, you know, what's nice is that it gives you color contrast, subtle color contrast in your characters, which I feel a little bit of it here. I don't know if that's you know, a GI bounce off of her shirt or a couch or something, but like her face feels very warm, like exclusively warm, and clearly the way you've got the setup, there's sunlight coming in, which means there's also skylight coming in. She feels more like she's lit by an incandescent bulb, you know, after the sun's gone down. Like because of the volume and the dust motes and stuff you've got in there, that's kind of masking it a little bit, you know. But even here, like all of the undersides of the detail in the shadows should probably feel a little bit blue. Like if you didn't have this big foggy thing on here, the volumetric on there, I suspect it would feel too dark, like these contact areas. Like, you know, I mean, back in this corner, it's more understandable that it would be dark, but it still feels a little black. Like, and the one thing you never want, and especially in CG, is for your shadows to go black, unless it literally is under somebody's foot. You can still, because that's what a renderer does when it doesn't have any light to render. But the world doesn't work that way. So I would definitely go back and try to introduce some sky to this. Same thing here, really. I mean, it feels kind of nicer over here because there's some softness, but yeah, like there should be a lot of blue in this as well. In this one, let's see. Yeah, this. Oh, actually, let me go back here first. So as far as the intensity of the key on her, it feels a little bit like her diffuse might be just on the edge of blowing out. So I think, you know, what works really well with skin is surprisingly, you know, if you bring up the spec a little bit, so there's just a tiny bit of shine on people. You know, it's a tough thing to pull off because you know, if you don't have the right shaders, it can look really plasticky. And that shininess that spec shouldn't be too sharp, otherwise it just looks sweaty, right? But the brightness of the exterior through the window, whether it's direct light or not, is going to be a reflective source. And then if this is the same thing with the sky when you're outside. It's not that it's so bright, but you know, you're reflecting that, and you pick that up in your skin, oils and stuff. That I can see it on my stupid giant forehead right now in this, and that gives you, gives it a little dimension, and it is very different than bringing the diffuse way in, because you'll start to see the difference, and you can play with it, you know, if you want to during the next week or so. What I would be looking for is, you know, not quite so bright in the body of the face, but probably since this is indoors, it's a little bit different. If this were outdoors, I'd expect the upward surfaces, like the tops of the cheeks, the top of the forehead, the bridge of the nose, to be a little bit brighter and a little bit either whiter or even, you know, subtly bluer. Like it can be bluer, and the skin tone's enough to kind of, you know, neutralize it. Yeah, so I think you need to back off the diffuse. All right. So in this one, I mean, this one, I'm not quite sure. I see that you felt the need to fill her, but it's kind of causing some confusion. I mean, it's a pretty strong light coming in the window, and she's pretty backlit, but she's lit from the side, right? And there's a strong room light coming that I don't really see affecting too many other things. So it feels a little cheaty. Is it a little cheaty?
Yeah, there's another, especially on that rim. You know, I'm just kind of simulating that there was windows in, basically there was more windows in the scene, and maybe like a door that was further back away from the light source on the left. But yeah, it definitely is cheating.
And that's totally legit, but I don't see it on other stuff. Really? I mean, I see it on here, but maybe too strong. But like, I would expect to see whatever's causing this to be affecting, you know, even this ball, right? And do you have it linked to her specifically, or?
Well, I think on this one, I rendered the background. I've rendered all the still stuff as a single pass.
Uh-huh.
And I think I might have turned down that rim on the wall and coffee cups, and so that's why it's not matching.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Well, I think bring that back and have it integrate
Okay.
better. And I guess, I mean, yeah, you could. I mean, you don't want this to just be backlit because obviously that's not going to work very well. But I mean, I guess you're feeling that other what we could consider a window on these things as well. Maybe it's just too hot, then, on your face. This one. In this one, feeling like the characters feel a little detached from the background. And especially because, at the end of each corridor, you have this pretty bright and somewhat saturated blue thing as opposed to the warm spot in the middle. So, I mean, I think you could really play up cool rims coming, literally from those four ends. That's what I would expect to see. I think that's kind of all you need in this one is to like here, she should have rims that are bluish, for sure. And like these downed robots, the sides of them that are facing those areas, like blue, shine, they're reflective and not massively reflective, but a little bit. So you should feel at least as much as you're feeling on the ground here. And they'll tie them together. Yeah, I mean, I think that's about it. Like she's well shaped. Looks pretty nice. Okay. I mean, do you have any questions or comments about what I've been saying? Or?
No, that sounds good. That all
Okay.
makes sense.
All right. This one's very nice. Is this GI or?
Yeah.
Yeah, it has a nice bounces to it.
Yeah, this one I did a while ago, so I was trying to remember.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot to say about this one. It's pretty nice. Maybe the foreground is just a little too dark, since there's kind of interesting stuff and kind of the story about this feels like it's an attic or something, or some special room that has a lot of clutter of things of importance. And I see them back there, and you kind of can't make out what the stuff in front is, which, I mean, compositionally it's nice because it cups the whole thing, but maybe get a little bit more. Yeah, like I had no idea this was a bike until I just looked at it. So maybe if the nubs on the tires and the seat got a little bit of kick on them, kind of the way the fishing rods are, just so there's just enough to make it feel like a full circle of stuff, rather than you're just totally staging all the other stuff with a vignette. But this is all nice. Like the middle of it's really nice. Yeah, this one's really nice. Well, the first thing I saw when I looked at this was like, given given the reflection on the ice, I'd expect to see a little bit of something on these snow mounds. Because right now they feel like they're rock or something that just it's not picking up any speck or reflection at all because of the contrast with the ice. Otherwise you wouldn't really think about it. But like your shadowing on the ice is really nice. It's not an easy thing to pull off because it tends to feel too dark. Actually, like right on the underside of this, you do have a line, like a contact shadow, which you wouldn't really get with snow because the light just goes through it. It's like whatever the level is on the side of that, it's kind of close to what it would be at the bottom as well. The light that you're casting on the trees behind the house, I mean, it's nice, but it feels like the whole back of the house is blown off rather than it coming from like a dormer window on the back and then maybe a first story window. Like it just feels like a lot of light. Is there one big light back there, or are there two little lights back there?
On that one, I think it might be, actually, I don't remember. I think it might be one big light. I can't remember actually. This one was a while ago.
Yeah, well, okay. It does feel like one big light.
Yeah, I definitely see that though. It's like, because it's too uniform across the trees. It should be broken up by smaller sections.
I mean, you can just fix that in the comp.
Yeah.
don't need to relight it. And I'd say, like, given the sort of time of day, like maybe this spill is a little strong from here. I mean, compositionally, it's really nice because it sets things up and it gives you a little apron. It feels a little bright. So just tuck it in a little bit. And that's it. Right. It was very nice though.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay, Andre, I did not have time to look at yours at all. And I'm out of time, so I think we're gonna have to continue that later. I'm sorry.
That's okay. No problem.
Yeah, I'd still like to try to meet on Friday, hopefully at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. If work doesn't get in the way.
Okay.
That's great. So I can digest it a little bit by now. So
No problem.
stuff to talk about. All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining me on my inaugural session here. I hope it was okay. I hope we managed to record this and Jasmine doesn't get mad at me.
Thank you.
No, it was really helpful. Thank you so much.
All right,
Thank you
great.
so much.
So yeah, just keep sending your stuff, and if I see stuff tomorrow, I'll try to comment, or if you want me to wait for the live session, just tell me and I'll just hold my comments. Up to you.
Yeah, I think it's normally it's on the live sessions, and we'll just make sure that we either wait or watch the recording later.
Okay.